They never knew she was an ace combat pilot until an emergency required her to fly an F-22 Raptor. The story began at Edwards Air Force Base in California, where Senior Airman Jessica Phoenix Chen was completing her morning routine as an aircraft maintenance technician. At 32 years old, she had spent the last 8 years working on the flight line, servicing the most advanced fighter jets in the U.S. Air Force arsenal. Everyone assumed she was just another skilled mechanic who had never set foot in a cockpit, and even her closest colleagues had no idea they were working alongside one of the most decorated combat pilots in modern Air Force history. "Chen, we need you to run diagnostics on Raptor 7, Technical Sergeant Mike Wrench Thompson called, pointing toward the sleek F-22 that had just returned from a training mission. The pilot had reported unusual readings in the flight control system, and Jessica approached the $150 million stealth fighter with the same methodical precision she applied to every aircraft. To everyone watching, she looked like a competent technician doing routine work, but they couldn't see the way her eyes cataloged every detail of the F-22's configuration, the way she evaluated its combat readiness, or the muscle memory in her hands, movements belonging to someone who had flown this exact aircraft in combat zones they'd never heard of. Thompson added, "Captain Rodriguez is coming down to observe the diagnostic. Make sure everything's by the book. You know how pilots get about their birds." Jessica almost smiled at the irony. She had logged more hours in F-22s than Captain Rodriguez had logged in her entire career, and she had earned call signs in 3 different combat theaters before trading her flight suit for coveralls. She wasn't just another maintenance tech, she was former Captain Jessica Phoenix Chen, the first female pilot to earn ace status in F-22 combat operations, with 7 confirmed kills during classified missions that officially never happened. 8 years earlier, she had been declared dead after a deep cover operation went wrong. Her F-22 had been reported shot down with no survivors, but in truth she had been extracted by Special Operations Forces after completing a mission so classified that her survival needed to remain secret. The Pentagon gave her a choice: accept a new identity and disappear, or risk compromising operations that could destabilize international relations. She chose anonymity and rebuilt her life as an enlisted maintenance specialist, working for 8 years on the same aircraft she once commanded, diagnosing systems she understood better than their engineers, and watching younger pilots fly missions she could have executed blindfolded. The hardest part wasn't the loss of rank, it was being grounded while others flew missions where her expertise could have saved lives. Thompson's voice snapped her back. Captain Maria Rodriguez approached with the confident stride of a talented but young pilot, asking about the aircraft. When she asked Jessica if she had ever considered flight training, the question hit harder than expected. No one had asked her about flying in 8 years. Before Jessica could answer, the base-wide emergency alarm shrieked. Hostile aircraft approaching restricted airspace. This is not a drill. Rodriguez sprinted toward operations while all F-22 pilots were ordered to scramble. Jessica returned to her diagnostic work, fighting back the old rush of adrenaline. Then came the bad news. Rodriguez's jet suffered hydraulic failure, Williams's jet took battle damage, and those were the only 2 qualified F-22 pilots available. Radar showed 4 hostile fighters inbound, 30 minutes from critical targets, and reinforcements were hours away. The F-22 Jessica had been servicing was fully armed and combat ready, but it had no pilot. She finally said, "Sergeant Thompson, call Colonel Harrison and tell him Captain Jessica Phoenix Chen is alive and ready for combat duty." Thompson thought she was losing her mind until she showed him classified diagnostic patterns no enlisted tech should possess. Then she told him the truth. She had been Captain Chen, youngest female ace in Air Force history, declared Kia to protect Operation Silent Thunder. Colonel Harrison arrived, skeptical, until Jessica recited details from one of the most classified operations in Air Force history, including her call sign, Phoenix. After secure verification, Harrison realized she was telling the truth. He demanded proof she could still fly, and Jessica demonstrated flawless familiarity with every inch of the F-22. She also recognized the hostile aircraft's formation, advanced electronic warfare tactics she had faced before. With no other pilots available, Harrison finally said, "Captain Chen, consider yourself reactivated." Jessica climbed into the cockpit, settling into it like returning home after years in exile. "Control, Phoenix requesting immediate clearance," she said, her voice carrying 8 years of restrained authority. Cleared for takeoff, she launched into the sky, intercepting the 4 hostiles who were equipped with advanced jamming systems. While ground radar lost lock, her F-22's sensors cut through the electronic warfare. She identified their diamond formation and realized they were configured for ground attack. Using unconventional tactics she had perfected years earlier, she eliminated the lead aircraft with a perfect missile shot, then engaged the remaining 3 in a brutal multi-aircraft dogfight. They were highly trained, flying aircraft with capabilities that shouldn't have existed outside classified U.S. programs. Yet Jessica, combining ace-level instincts with years of intimate system knowledge, outflew all of them. She downed the second hostile with a risky close-range gun kill, destroyed the third while inverted at Mach 1.5, and eliminated the final attacker in a head-on engagement that showcased why she had earned ace status before age 25. Control, Phoenix, all hostiles neutralized, threat eliminated. For 30 seconds, the radio was silent as everyone processed the fact that the maintenance tech had saved the base. She landed to stunned applause, and the truth spread across Edwards. Captain Jessica Phoenix Chen was alive. 6 months later, now reinstated and promoted to colonel, she stood before a class of F-22 pilots, teaching the next generation. When a young pilot asked how it felt to be away from flying for 8 years, Jessica smiled. It taught her, she said, that being a pilot isn't something you are, it's something you become every time you climb into the cockpit. Later, on the flight line, Thompson asked if she ever regretted giving up flying. Jessica looked at the F-22, then at the young pilots preparing for training. Being grounded doesn't mean you stop being a pilot. It just means you're preparing for the day when flying matters most. She climbed into her Raptor with confidence restored, knowing that legends aren't only made in the air, they're preserved by those who refuse to forget who they truly are, even when the world forces them to hide it.